Okay, so I don't know what's going on now, literally. But we're just as long as you're recording, yeah?
Oh, no, you need to give me access now. Um,
It's nuts, right?
but last week that link was fine.
How was it?
Yeah. But then you sent it to me on Sunday and I'd already accessed the MailChimp one and some people then couldn't access that. Just
Right.
don't understand how it's been such a challenge. I think it is because people are coming in their own AI note takers and it kicks you off.
Mm.
But yeah, send it over to me when it's done. But I'm recording to my computer, which will take all day.
Okay, and then you'll do the presentation now, won't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's very good of you. You have a very good husband.
He can be.
Hey, good
He
Lord.
can be.
I hope there's not cyanide in that.
No, that would just keep me asleep, which is just boring.
Yeah, cyanide. One of my favorite little
Little
after
husband trick for Wendy.
after dinner cocktails. Good morning.
Hey mate, you alright?
Morning.
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 Jodie's
Morning, all. Happy
Jodie-
Friday.
Happy damn Friday, JK. Dave's here, Dave Puttock, Tom's here, Kate is here, she's back. We lost you last week, Katie. I was worried about you.
Oh yeah, sorry, had a bit of an emergency, but yeah, back for half of today. I'm afraid I've got something similar again today.
Okay, as long as you're okay, that's the
Yes.
that's the main thing. I just, as Jodie tell you, I've got a habit of upsetting people, so I'm not like, oh God, who have I upset
No, it
now?
wasn't
You know?
anything that you had done, honestly.
Right, here we go. The old screen was going a bit weird there, wasn't it? Was it going a bit weird on your end, T, or not? No?
Just you, Gary.
Just me. I'm a weird one. Right, that's for sure. So where are we?
It keeps you interesting, right?
Absolutely. Okay.
Weird
Good.
and boring.
Exactly. Good morning. Tom Scott is here. Good Lord. They're all here. Tom Campbell is here. This is beautiful. Anyone else that I can't see? Lloyd's there. Lloyd's here.
Good morning.
Morning.
Nathan's here. I'm going to say one thing to Nathan when he comes on.
Hey, dog.
Keep it clean, Gary. There's children in the background.
Nathan.
Doesn't know how to.
Morning, everyone.
I said I'm going to say one thing to you when you come on.
Go on.
What do you think it is? Where's
Where's your cigars?
Yeah, well, come on.
Well, you
Where
have
are
to be
they,
in the
mate?
country to get all, I dragged them back from the Middle East. You can go 10 minutes to Portishead. You know,
I'll get the driver to pop over.
I'm busy today, Gary.
Very
you've
good.
you've got 14 of them left, mate. All right.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I did. What have you guys go over to young Nathan Staces there? Right. Okay. Well, anyway, good morning, and I look forward to getting my cigars next next week.
Yeah, I look forward to being remunerated for them as well, mate. So yeah.
Oh, you see, Nathan. You see, Nathan, from a sales point of view, that was that wasn't your best way. Say, look, Gaz, for everything you've done for me.
What's the markup, Stace?
It's pretty high, actually. Yeah, it's.
You start.
Hang on, I'm just going through my notes from last week's profit margins. Hang on.
Love that. Morning, Roy. How are you?
Morning, Gary. Very good, thank you.
Good, great to see you, mate. So, okay, guys. So today we're going to be talking about pricing strategies, and what I kind of what I guess I wanted to say to you was that we're now in week 7. You know, we're plowing on, on through this, and I wondered if you had noticed some sort of reoccurring themes during the financial mastery course, because there are in finances and in money, there are some reoccurring themes. And I just wanted to sort of, to point that out to you, that sometimes you might think, well, hold on a minute, I think he went through that 2 weeks ago, or I think we might have covered that before. And a lot of the things that you apply when you're working on financial mastery is this tweaking. Okay, it's that margin of increase and decrease that is so important in everything you do when it comes to, finance. Because, I can certainly say from my 45 years of being in business, I haven't really found any real silver bullets. Morning, Sam.
Hey.
Hi, morning. You okay?
I don't know what he's talking to me.
Okay. So I haven't found any real silver bullets. You'll have a good product, you'll have a good session, you have a good guy works for you, you have some good deals come in. But the reality is the art with business, and in particularly the art with financial mastery, is can you focus yourself enough to make marginal gains in several areas at one time? Okay, that's the art, and that's the challenge, because that takes focus and it takes a bit of hard work, because you're not just trying. Everybody wants that silver bullet, don't they? Everybody's looking for that one big, looking for that one big thing. Will be like, right, if I sort this, all my problems will be sorted out. But I don't want to sound negative, but I do want to say to you that sometimes that may happen. You may get that one deal or a couple of deals in a year, but the consistent obsession as businesses with the marginal gains, 5% here, 1% there, 10% in all areas, all going at the same time, is where the magic really, really happens. Does that make sense, guys? Because the skeleton that we're always dealing with is we sell something, that's 100%. We buy something, say it costs us 60%. Therefore, we make 40% on everything we sell. Then we pay out for all the costs of running the business, regardless of whether we sell anything, typically 30% or 30% or 25%. And we're left at the bottom with 15%, if we're lucky, more like between 5 and 15%. And that's what that's the reason that there is a theme through financial mastery of moving the marginal gains all at the same time, because that is your framework. Morning, Carl. Morning, Matt. Morning, Rick.
Gary.
Morning, guys.
Morning.
So we've got 100% the price, the COGS, the cost of the goods, gives you the gross profit. You've got your expenses, and then you've got your net profit. And then, of course, you've got people on the call like Tom and Nathan that will help you retain more of that from great tax and investment advice. But the reality is that we want to look today at the I guess you won't like this, team, but for today's session anyway, bear with me. Out of those numbers, which one do you think is the one that can move your dial the most?
All of them? Just that, you're talking about like that little tweak of one, tweak another, tweak of another equals a big multiplication.
Yeah, that's a great answer, actually, Natalie. And to be fair, I explained all that, and then I'm asking for a different answer. So yeah, and you brought me straight back to tweaking, and I like it. I'll take it. But if you had to choose one,
I'm guessing from a percentage point of view, the biggest one of those numbers is your revenue number. So if by doing the same work, you can increase your revenue by, a certain percentage, that has the biggest impact.
yeah, love that. That's right, John. Because if your top number is 100%, so 100% for what we sell, 100% for what we sell the pen for, and we move that by somehow by 5% or 10%, that's going to have the biggest, gain on the business. And that's why today, in principle, we're going to be talking about pricing strategies. Does that make sense? Yeah. If you don't set your prices, I love the silence. If you don't set your prices, who will set them for you?
Customer?
Yeah. Yeah. If you don't set your prices, your customers will. And your customers typically will make you go what?
Bust. Mental.
Yeah. You should do 3 days coaching and see what I'm like on a Thursday night sat there. Just
You're
saying.
mental already, Gary.
Just thanks, mate. Just saying on behalf of Fred. No, they will make you go too low. Generally, your customers will always make you go too low. Jody, can you send a Zoom link to Alan, please? He can't find the Zoom link. Thank you. Okay, so they'll always make you go too low, and that's why the majority of small and medium-sized companies, remember, medium size up to SME is between 10 and 50 employees, right? I think the classic, I can't remember, up to 10 million pounds. I'll get you the numbers. But they normally underprice what they do by about 20%. Okay, typically. And so we're the businesses trying to run around, do everything for our clients, give the best customer service on the world, working 70 hours a week, and we're not charging always the right prices. And pricing isn't, like I said, it's not the only part where you can tweak it, but it's certainly it's the best part where you can make money instantly. So I've got my lovely assistant this morning here, Jodie Murray, whose husband's just bought her a nice cup of coffee.
He can be very good.
I didn't recognize the movement, but I'm going to learn from it. Jodie, can we crack on with the PowerPoint?
Yes, you can.
There we go. Setting prices to ensure profitability and factors to consider when determining pricing for products and services. So here's my first question, guys. Okay, here's my first question. I want real radical candor, real honesty. Who absolutely sets their prices with profitability in mind every time? John, Richard, Kyle, Nathan, Tom, Dave. Okay, love that. Is there anyone that doesn't? Natalie? Okay.
Only if it's like a starter entry, I'll sacrifice some of the profit if I think, well, actually, there's a long-term relationship to be had here.
Yeah. Okay. A lot of people do not in business. A lot of people set their price because they are setting it on market demands. A lot of people are setting their price because they think, oh, yeah, that's about it. That should be where we are. But the absolute obsession should be that you set your prices to ensure profitability. Now, what profitability do you think we're ensuring? And there's two answers to this, but which initial profitability do you think we're ensuring?
Gross profit.
Gross profit. Yeah. Who said that?
Me.
Well done. Yeah. So the first thing you're doing to ensure profitability is you're absolutely getting obsessed about your gross profit. And then ideally you then manage your expenses underneath that to then eke out your net profit. Does that make sense? And it's quite hard if you don't do it in that order. You do it in the other order, where you're trying to get your net profit, and then you look at your prices up there. You will not pack in always the costs that you need to get the sales and to get the deals and to get the the activity that you need. I.e., is there anyone on the line? I call this the line because that's how old I am. Is there anyone on the line that has ever been guilty of being tight with their marketing? John, JK, Natalie, Kyle. Yeah, beautiful. Right. So bigger companies who, funny enough, charge 20% more typically, they're not tight with their marketing. They know if they spend £30,000 to get £1 million worth of business and they want £2 million of business, they know they have to spend £60,000 in principle, because that's their client acquisition cost. Small businesses are getting to $1 million and thinking, how do I get to 1.2 million without spending another dollar on marketing? Because people don't see marketing as an investment. And therefore, that's why they're sometimes not setting their profitability mindset right. They're not going gross and then net. They're trying to eke out more money with less investment in the very thing that buys you customers. And then a lot of good small businesses start to then over rely on what begins with R.
Recurring business?
No. Good answer though, actually, David. I mean, Dave, to be fair, I said no. It's just because it's not the answer I want, but it is a right answer.
Referrals?
Yeah, referrals, John. Yeah, people's marketing efforts go down the more they rely on referrals, which means that their business model is they take what they're given rather than what they want. And so they start to put a ceiling on their belief of who they can deal with, how many they can sell, how much business they can do. So getting your pricing structure, your pricing strategies right to ensure your profitability is absolutely vital. Okay, Jodes. I thought I had control, but I can't go to the next slide. There we go. Pricing. Good morning.
School's shut, so it's homeschooling again.
Oh, okay. So the profit lever. This is about not, basically this is about not leaving money on the table. Okay. Can I ask you a question, guys? Is there any of you that think they're leaving money on the table? Yeah. Right. John?
I'm genuinely not sure, because I don't know. I don't know where we are versus the threshold where clients would tell us to Foxtrot Oscar if we pushed them up any further. Yeah. Just genuinely don't know.
So you don't know. Okay. So I want to try and put that right today, John. Because I would almost say, this is an arrogant thing to say, and that wouldn't be in my character, but I would almost say that you probably are, John, knowing you and your business. And I mean that with respect, because I know the unbelievable differences you make to people, because your price structure is an investment price structure, right? You pay us $1, we save you $10. Wow, I'm in. Sorry, it's $1.20, and we're going to save you $10. Wow, I'm in. So potentially, I would say for you, I don't. I think most people leave money on the table, including myself. Okay,
that's really interesting. Yeah, thank you, Gary. Because the way I look at it is there's like an emotional. I see a sort of an emotional side of it. People almost have this sort of, but maybe it's in my head that people won't pay any more than this, even though the value is there. Yeah, I wonder how common that is.
Well, a lot, very common,
really common.
Yeah. Okay, so I've been talking about this to quite a few of you this week, and it's what is sparked off. And I'm just going to go a little bit stage left here or stage right. I'll come back. I don't normally do that, but I have been talking to quite a few people this week. Got in Monday morning, and then that beautiful lady who speaks so elegant was on the telly on Tuesday morning, wasn't she? What's her name?
Rachel, our friend Rachel.
Rach. Oh, Rach. Oh, Rach. Oh, Rachel's. I came down into here, and the telly was on from the night before because I was jet lagged, and there she is. She's on the screen. So I've done a little bit this week of working with people with their subconscious and their conscious minds, And I think it's always important, now I haven't covered that in coaching with you and you want me to cover it in more detail, then we can cover it, at the next session. But it's really been on my mind because of the some of the mindset of people with regards to tax going up, et cetera, et cetera. Our conscious mind is only working at 5% of the time. Okay, so our conscious mind is 5% of the time, and that's where we set the goal, if you want. That's where we go, yeah, this is logical. 95% of the time, we're being driven by our subconscious mind. Now, we think we're really clever, and we think that we're actually using our conscious mind all the time, but we're not. We're being driven by our subconscious mind. And John, what you said just then is, that fear, that little bit of fear factor, that's your subconscious mind. That's the habits that you've taught it to make you believe that. You see, our conscious mind only uses 5%, and our conscious mind sets. God, I sound like Jane. Our conscious mind sets the goal. 5%. Our conscious mind sets the goal. Our subconscious mind drives the what? Begins with B. Morning, Al.
Morning, Gary. Right.
Yeah, okay, mate. Sorry.
Behaviors.
Yeah, our subconscious mind drives our behaviors. And our behavior is a fear of rejection, fear of losing money, fear of not getting the sell, fear. And we know that with our subconscious mind, I think I've said this to one or two people this week, if you have fed your subconscious mind fear, scarcity, limitation, negativity, then your programming will do everything in your life to keep you small and safe. Okay? And your mind will keep you to it will actually, you won't realize it, but it will sabotage you from what you can really, really get. There's no point in wanting anything, guys. Right? There's no point in wanting to put your prices up. You've got to believe that you deserve to put your price up. You've got to believe that you deserve to be that person worth 50 million. Not want it. Don't want a Ferrari. Know that you deserve to drive it. I mean, I couldn't get out one with my lower back, but you know what I'm saying. Okay. Anyway, that's a bit deep. But John, that's your subconscious telling you a story.
Yeah.
Okay. And what we see, say, feel, and believe is what drives. And part of coaching is week by week, week in, week out, we actually try to help reprogram people's subconscious minds. I don't mean as a cult, but we're trying to, even if people don't do the coaching work, and God forbid, some people don't do the coaching work. Can you imagine it? Slowly over time, I love the number of eyebrows that went up then. Slowly over time, people's subconscious changes, and that's why the coaching is so powerful. Right, Joes, we better get on, mate. Stop holding me up, Jodie.
I've just got a lot to say, Gary. I can't help myself.
That is so sarcastic, by the way. Okay, come on, Jodes. Slide 2, Jodes. You push the button.
You stopped me from sharing. That's why you couldn't see it.
No, I haven't.
I can see your screen, Jodie.
What can you see?
I can see your suitcase, Gary, when you come back from holidays every time, I think.
Say that again, Roy.
I'm looking at a picture of your suitcase, your briefcase.
It's what he owes Nathan for those fags.
Roy, to be fair, that's my 9-year-old's pocket money now. Oh dear, I'm only joking. You don't spend dollars. Jodie, can we go on to the next slide, because I can't take Roy's sarcasm anymore. Okay. Why pricing matters, right? A 1% price rise typically equals a 10% profit increase. Interesting, right? A 1% price rise equals a 10% profit increase. What do you think about that? Okay, do you wake up and think that? Because perhaps you should, right? I think there's nobody on this call. By the way, I don't want you to put your prices up by 1%. I want them much more than that, unless you're quoting me for something at the moment. But the reality is that I don't think there's anyone on this call that at the very least can't do a 1% price rise tomorrow. And probably a 5 or 10% price rise. Yeah, price is the number one driver of profitability. I think we've done that. And if you plug, every leak in your business, but your pricing drips profit, you're technically still empty in your bucket. Okay, imagine you plug a leak in your business, but your pricing drips away 10% each month. You'll never achieve it. You're going to make 5 to 15% at the bottom. You're ebbing away 10% of your prices every month, discounts, not charging the right price, and you're looking at your bucket. Anyone ever done this? You look at your bucket, you're like, why is it empty every month? I wonder. Okay, think about your business like a bucket. I'm doing all this? I'm putting all this effort in. And yet sometimes the bucket is empty. We were only ever going to get 15% of the water anyway, if we were lucky. And now after we pay our taxes, bang, 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 think of that bucket. So if you've got a little leak in your bucket, it's that bit is going to take. Okay, James, let's go on. And here we are, John, JK, the 4 pricing myths. Number 1, if I charge more, I'll lose customers. I have 3 words to say to you. No, you won't. Well, you might. But do it right and it won't make any difference. If I charge more, I will lose customers because that's my identity iceberg. That's how I was brought up. That's how my subconscious deals with me. Fear. My competitors set the market. I don't know why I'm shouting, Tom Scott, do you?
I think it just helps get it going in the morning.
Is it okay? All right.
Yeah.
I'll have to remember that then, mate.
Yeah.
Helps it go in. Brilliant. So my competitors, they set the market. I've kind of got 3 words to that. What is it?
No, they don't.
Not on this call because none of you were selling to recommended retail price. If you were selling iPhones, I get it. But you're not, man. You're all beautiful and you're all bespoke. There's nobody on this call that's not selling by value, that isn't selling by value, and yet you're living by price. Number 3, customers always want by the way, I don't really script this, by the way, so I love this 3 words. Keep them, make a note of them, Jones. I'm going to keep them. I'm going to hold them we've got a really exciting course starting in January. Can't wait. Okay, number 3, customers always want the cheapest. Matt Jones, what's the 3 words?
No, they don't.
No, they don't. And the last myth. I just want to cover costs. Well done. Well done. Well done with that. Good. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, why do you? Why do you just want to make sure I'll be all right as long as I make a few quid, as long as I'm making more than I did in my last job? What? You looked at the level of stress you're under. What happens if COVID comes along? What happens if you can't work for 3 months? These are all myths. I promise you, they're myths. Customers don't buy cheap. They love confidence, they love quality, and they love results. Now, we're not talking about customer service, but if you want to get top whack and you don't bring your client back, right? If you want to get top whack and you're not giving them magic moments, yeah. And that's why if you look at our 6 ways, we've got, I think it's 97 strategies down there to really, really shore up the relationship so that those 4 myths never touch your business. But I promise you guys, they are myths. Does that make sense? Okay, let's go on to the next slide, James. So the profit equation, profit equals price minus cost times volume, okay? So if you raise your prices by 5% and lose 5% of the customers, you often still make more profit. Okay, that's that really is a very basic equation to work on, and it's so true. Okay, does anyone want me to draw that out on the screen? Does anyone want me to draw it out, but don't want to say they want me to draw it out?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's share this.
Maybe not.
All right, hold on a sec, guys. Okay. All right, brilliant. So let's take an example. Let's say we're gonna sell something for £1,000, and our cost of goods £700, and there our gross profit is £300, and therefore our gross margin is what percentage?
30.
30%. Okay, brilliant. Now, let's say with these cells, we've sold 100 units, yeah, at £10. Okay, so I'm going to increase the price of the units. I'll do 10%, it'll be easier for now, to £11. Okay, I increase the price of the units to £11, and 10% of my people say you can get lost. So what's my turnover now?
£990.
£990. And what's my cost of goods?
700.
No.
Oh, sorry.
630.
No. No, 693.
I was at 693, Gary.
Because each unit is costing me 70p, isn't it?
Yeah, sorry, got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not 70p. Each unit is costing me
£7, isn't it?
£7, yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
£7.
So it'll be 630.
So it will be 630. Who says 693?
Some bloke who owes me for money for cigars.
No, you don't.
I'm
getting it.
Love that.
I'm getting it.
So how much is our why did I get that wrong? That's quite worrying. That's very worrying, actually. Well, it's 630 anyway, I told you that. So the reality is we make 360, okay? So how much more profit have we made?
60 quid.
Okay, we made 60 quid. What's our new gross margin? Have you watched Groundhog Day?
36.
36%. Right? So what's our profit increase by? What's our margin increase by?
20%.
20%. Okay, so our margin is increased by 20% from 30 to 36%. Okay, how much business did we lose? Yeah, we did. We lost 10% of our customers. Right? We lost 10% of our customers. And yet we increased our margin by 20%. Interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
This price myth is so powerful on businesses. And that's why I'm saying when everyone put their hands up, oh, Gary, yes, I absolutely sell. When I price things, it's all about profitability. I'm like, is it though? Is it?
You lose the B grade customers as well, don't you,
Well,
Gary?
yeah.
Like you lose the worst ones and you keep the better ones.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's a good way to put it. You lose the shit. You sometimes lose the shit magnets. I don't know about the B type customers, Rich, because we'd be out of business without them. But you lose the C ones.
Yeah,
It's a joke. It's a joke. Yeah, but you're right. You usually use the one. You usually lose the ones that want a discount.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the 80-20 sort of rule, you know. But you know, you got to and also, did anyone say they look at their competitors?
I definitely did in the first kind of time last year. I was definitely focused on competitors.
So write this down, Natalie. Copy the other guy or girl. And that's lazy and dangerous. Right? You know, looking at your competitors, just driving your market by your competitors is a very lazy and dangerous method. Do you know what, guys? I mean, I'm sure you're probably going to give me a list as long as your arm. I don't even really know any other coaches in Bristol. I mean, they are competitors, aren't they? I'm just like, well, you just get out of the way. There's enough, the more, right? There's enough people for every single one of you within 20 minutes drive of where you are to probably double your turnover. Maybe not for like people like Tom, perhaps, who's a bit more specific with the PR and the sport, but generally there's enough. If you get in your car and drive for 20 minutes, there's enough business to build, you know, over the year. Okay. Right. Number 6. Next slide, please, Joe. Jan, Jody. The 3 big approaches: cost base. I'm ahead of myself, guys, right? Safe but dull. So this is cost-based pricing. You know, so it's safe, but it's dull. You know, you start with your cost, you add your markup on, or your margin, go, oh, that's all right, that's my cost base. Competitor based, like we said, lazy. Value based, that's where the magic happens. Cost-based pricing is asking your accountant how sexy you are. Oh, I wrote that. I love that. I did that in Thailand. Technically accurate, emotionally tone deaf. That's classic. Keep that one as well, Joe. I remember writing that one. God, I'm good. Joe. No, I did write it. I love it.
Was that after asking your accountant, Gary?
No, he doesn't talk to me much, John. He's not allowed to because he's only allowed 1 phone call a week, John. But we're kind of hoping that David Lamb is going to let him out on Thursday by mistake. Okay, let's sorry.
You joke. My first accountant I had in starting this business, it all went quiet from him, and then I got a sort of sheepish note from his business partner. It turned out he'd gone to prison for defrauding his business partner. Probably wasn't the best thing for giving accounting advice.
One of our accountants in our Singapore office, we were trying to get hold of him, couldn't get hold of him, went down, and I remember meeting a guy called Pete Margits, who was a nightmare. And I said, this accountant you referred us to, he's been with us for a year. We've hardly heard of him. He went, He said, everyone was trying to get hold of him, but they found him last Wednesday. I said, where was he? He was in the boot of somebody's car, dead. Singapore. I said, you got any other recommendations, mate? Okay, let's go on, Jodie. How did we get onto that? Okay, understanding value perception. This is the one thing I would want to, really say to you all about your pricing strategies is, what are you? What value are you giving people? People justify their decisions with logic, their conscious mind, but they're buying with emotion, right? Their subconscious mind, that 95%. You look at Dyson, which is a great example. Can you imagine, even for when Dyson came out, it did look like something from space, right? When it first came out. Now we're used to seeing them, aren't we? They still look a bit funky in some houses. But it's that value. It's the value that people buy. You've got to be tapping into the emotion. In business, facts tell what sells.
Stories
sell. Okay, facts tell, stories sell. If you've got stories, a lot of them, then you will tap into emotion because storytelling hits into emotion. But if you've got a bag full of facts, you're trying to milk the shit out of their conscious mind. And the conscious mind is only 5%. The stories milk the shit out of their emotional mind, their subconscious, which is how they're living. They're 95%. That's what's driving the behavior. It's interesting, right? Well, I think it is. Let me ask you a question. Roy, do you like coffee?
Yeah.
Okay. I go to a beautiful coffee place in Koh Samui. It's, you know, some people drive all over the island for it. That coffee is in UK price terms, £10 a coffee. But I can walk down 5 sort of shacks down the road and I can get a coffee for £1. Which one's the luxury one?
One that costs you 10 times as much.
Yeah.
Exactly. Price signals quality. That's the thing. That's the other thing that people miss. You know, if it's too good to be true, it's probably too good to be. If I come up and I say to you in the street, "Here's a loaf of bread for 2p," you're going to say, "What's
wrong with it?
What's wrong with it?" Okay, so price signals quality. And for you, Roy, with your, I was looking at some of your. What was I looking at the other day, Roy? I was looking at one of your bathrooms. I mean, they are. I just want to say this: they're stunning, they're unbelievable, and they're beautiful. But if they were priced the same as IKEA, I wouldn't want it, would I? Does that make sense?
Probably, yeah.
Because I would think there's like tissue paper inside of the marble or whatever. You could never, you know, because what you do is quality. So price always signals quality, definitely, 100%. And you know, you've got to tap into this when you're looking at your pricing and your mindset around prices. People always remember this, guys. You might want to write this down, but this is a big, for me, you know, 30 years ago in business, this was I remember in financial services where this was a big change in my life. Was realizing that people justify purchases with logic, but they absolutely buy on emotion. You know, there's no point in talking about the policy. It was talking about what happens if you have a heart attack. What happens if you're not able to work for 6 months? What happens if anything happens to you and your partner can't pay the mortgage or your kids can't stay at private school or whatever? You know, you bought that Dyson. By the way, who's got a Dyson? Yeah. Okay. Right. I got to ask the question. Natalie, what have you got then?
Shark.
A shark, have you?
Because it's got a lovely Bristolian R in the middle.
Sharks for the win. Sharks for the win. I'm with Natalie on that. Sharks for the win. I mean, not that I know how to use it, but you know, Charlotte does.
Love, get me shark out. I love it. Okay. All right. So anyway, all us guys with the Dysons, why do we buy the Dyson? Who said, Lloyd, have you got a Dyson?
Got 4 Dysons.
Hey, there he is. There's my boy.
Because they keep breaking, Lloyd. You want to get yourself a shark.
I got one in each hand when I'm doing it.
I don't want to know about your sex life, Lloyd, but the reality is, right? But on that very note, you bought the Dyson for its what power? It's begins with that.
I didn't buy the Dysons. Actually, I did buy one Dyson for my wife's Christmas present once. That didn't go down. But it wasn't the only present, and it wasn't it wasn't just a present, but it's been a talking point for years.
But you bought it because for what power? It begins with S. It's
suction power, Gary.
Yeah, that's why you had 2 in one hand. But yeah, you bought it for its suction power. Okay, you didn't do it a lot. I mean, the logic might say if we look at one of their sharks over there, the shark might have a bit of better suction power on. Might even be cheaper. I don't know. I've never heard of shark. But the reality is that Dyson sell you that on the emotion of the suction power. Clever, isn't it? But I think, you know, we should all have a Google of a shark vacuum cleaner today. What colour is your shark, Natalie?
Oh, it's black with turquoise on it.
Really
It's very
nice.
lovely.
Does it have teeth?
It does. It has a blade that will cut off all the long hair that gets wrapped around it all the time. So,
Wow.
anybody needs a link to it, I'll send it over. Get some commission for sure.
Well, Christmas is coming up, Natalie, and I am looking for gift ideas.
Well, you know, it's that or pots and pans, isn't it, Lloyd? It's a hard one to choose. Does she want saucepans or does she want a vacuum? I mean,
I'll tell you what, that
definitely a vacuum.
Mrs. Smith, she lives the dream on Christmas Day. That
well, there's plenty that Dyson still offers. You got hair dryers, straighteners, fans. There's lots of gifts out there.
Matt, have you got a Dyson hairdryer?
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's so strong it blew it all off.
Suction.
You have to give it. Carl will have it. Okay. All right. So you see what we did there, guys. We talked about a product. It was lovely. Natalie told us about her black licorice, all sort. What was it? No, not licorice. Turquoise one. She didn't tell us what the motor was. She didn't tell us what speed the motor went. She didn't tell us blah blah blah. She told us the value, the emotion around it, and we had a damn good chat there about vacuum cleaners. Yeah, and the chances are, out of everything we talked about today, you might remember this conversation about the vacuum cleaners because we tapped into some emotion, you know. And I think what we should all do is club together and send Lloyd's wife, you know, at least something dainty for Christmas Day, like a little, you know, bottle of perfume, Lloyd, or you know, some flowers or something. Do you know what I mean? Or maybe a hook to hang the Hoover on. I don't know. But we need to talk about your Christmas buying habits, Lloyd Smith.
I'll put it on the planner, the focus sheet for next week, Gary.
Jodie says she worked at Dyson and tested the hairdryer before it came out.
Yeah, it was all about the motor. He was obsessed with the motor.
But was it in the closet then? You got? Is that where they kept?
It was in the closet. Yeah.
Oh, and you tested that? That's lovely.
Tested it out before it was out on the market. Yeah.
Was that before or after you worked for me?
Before.
I don't see you much in the week nowadays. Let's go to the next button.
Too busy drying my hair. Yeah.
I can't believe I had no idea this conversation was going to go there today. I got to say that. But facts tell, stories sell. We're all smiling, right? We're all smiling. That business is fun and selling and you know pricing it. You see, the price becomes secondary. Nobody said to Natalie, how much was your shark then, love? Or Nath, did you get you're in the same family? Did you get a two, the second one 50%? Nobody talked about price. I want to know what a shark vacuum looks like. I really do. Okay, so Jodie, can we go on to the next slide? Because you look bored, Jodes.
When you're around.
Okay, here are the five.
How could you be bored? We spent 7 minutes talking about vacuum cleaners, and it's got to be the most rock and roll day of our lives.
Nathan,
the best one so far.
Nathan, have you got your hand on your hip?
No, mate. It's somewhere separate.
So the pricing factors, okay? Cost. You've got to you've got to look at these five things, and this is the work I want you to do for this week. Is these are the things that you bring into looking at your pricing factors, the 5 C's. Okay, think of getting the price right for your product is like a wheel. Think of it like a wheel with spokes on it, and these are the 5 C's around it. And I put one in. No, actually, it was 4, but I put 5 in. So you got the costs. Know your costs. Know the cold costs. Okay, the cold costs is knowing what you paid for it. That boring but dull. What could you put on it? Where would you be? Competitors. Know where you sit with your competitors. Don't become lapdogs to them, but know where you sit pricing wise. Competitors. What I find is that so many other people do not know what their competitors are charging. They knew what they were charging last year, but they don't know what they're charging this year or this quarter. Mystery shoppers. Customers. What do they value? Okay, very often with customers, they value so much more than the price. It's not the price that they value. Is it the service? Is it the relationship? Is it the Nectar card? What is it they value? Is it for me going to a hotel and then remembering which papers I read? What is it it's not the price that they say, oh, book me into the X at the X. Because they're going, hi, Mr. Keating, you're like your normal papers.
No, the niche ones.
Say again, John.
Just the niche ones, Gary.
Number 4, the capacity. Are you full or are you desperate? If you're full up, right? By the way, you've got to do what I say here, not what I do what I say, because in with the coaching, we're quite laid back with this. Too laid back. But if you're full up and you're offering services, then what should you do with your prices with the next person that comes in?
Put price up.
Put them up. Right? Put your price up because you're in demand. So are you full or are you desperate? I know a lot of desperate businesses that are literally desperate, but it's not around the price, and yet they convince themselves it is. They've convinced themselves it's the price, and then they just start selling for cash. Confidence. Confidence is the biggest driver of price power. Okay. You've got to be confident. You can't go, it's 20 grand. Is that all right? That will link into your subconscious beliefs around money. And look, it's going to cost this, mate. Bad. That's wobbly. Never be wobbly on price. If you go and see your doctor, right? If I go and see my doctor or my consultant, he doesn't even talk to me about price, does he? Right? You're just going to get the invoice for whatever the consultation is, right? You've got to have that absolute complete confidence on price. Don't wobble. Never wobble on price. Anybody guilty of wobbling on price? Lloyd, okay, thanks for that. Tom? Matt, okay.
I think I probably still do internally. I think I used to show it. I think I'm better at not showing it now, but I still think sometimes internally I am. It's really interesting to reflect on.
Yeah.
It depends as well on it depends on the deal, it depends on the timing, the client. So I kind of, as you know, make it up as we go. But I think if there's a deal to be done, I wouldn't want it to go. And it also depends on the capacity you're at. So I wouldn't say there's a solid answer for it.
Okay.
It's such a good point, Tom. I think I get emotionally wedded to the idea of doing a piece of work with someone. I get excited about it and then don't want to lose it, rather than thinking it purely clinically from a business perspective.
So I'll share this with you guys, and I think I've probably shared it with some of you before. When I was really financially in trouble, I know I've shared this with quite a few of you, but I'll just make my point really. My toughest time in business was definitely when I came out of the music business from the shops, and we were a couple of £1 million down, and that was a lot. I mean, it's a lot of money now, right? But it is to me, but it was a lot of money going back 30 odd years ago. You sort of like you've had a lovely lifestyle, you've had great shops, you've done this and the other, and then suddenly you're there with a wife, 4 kids, had 3 stepchildren, a wife, a mortgage, cars, and you owe money that you can't possibly pay back in one day. And because because I went into financial services, but I came out of the music business, I couldn't go bankrupt. Because I mean, obviously the compliance is much more stricter now than it was then, but you still couldn't go bankrupt and sell pensions and investments, right? And life assurance even then. So I was up against it. And, for the first couple of months in financial services, I was absolutely useless. And in those days, there wasn't any internet or stuff like that. So it really was hardcore, get on the phone Friday mornings, and I would not leave my office until I'd made 16 appointments for the next week. And that would leave me sometimes for anyone that knows Brunswick Square in Bristol, where we used to film Fools and Horses sometimes, House of Elliot and that. I would be in the office in Brunswick Square to 10, 11 o'clock on a Friday night sometimes. So I got one of my famous signs up, which is a nightclub called Vadim's that used to be on the Triangle in Clifton nightclub, ringing them at that time saying, will you please see me next week? Because I'm not going home to my wife and 4 kids till I make 16 appointments. And it was tough. And those first couple of months were really hard. But one thing I learned, it was about 2 months in, I'm like, I can't keep waking up and going out to knock doors, going out to talk to people when I feel scared shit about losing our house. When I am terrified of going bankrupt because I'm trying to get into an IVA to pay back this money over 7 years. When my wife, I get home and my wife would be crying because there would have been a couple of bailiffs at the door that day who simply can't get paid. And it's simply no point in even offering them a tenner a week at that point. And what I learned is after those couple of months, I'm like, this is no point. I would get to the point where I was trying to close the deal with the client. And I'd be so desperate. We used to get paid every 7 days. So if I signed something on a Monday, I know I'd get paid the next week, right? My voice would go what? W. Wobbly. I'd go wobbly because I not only wanted the deal, I needed the money so much. Does that make sense? I mean, literally, some weeks like going to get the electric key. I used to joke, it wasn't a joke really, but fill up the electric key. It was really, really, really baptism of fire for me. It was the second sort of, leaving school with being broke, no money. But I made a decision. I woke up one morning and I'm like, I am just going to have, and I don't know if anyone is familiar with Buddhism at all, but the Buddhists have a saying for this. They have two sayings for it. But I woke up one morning, I thought, I'm done. I'm done. I'm just going to go out. This is a new day. And that will all have to stay there because I'm going to go out with absolute confidence. Absolute confidence, because I truly did believe in what I did. And, I was very lucky in financial services because I had a death claim very, very, very soon into being in there. So I knew the value of life cover. But my point is, the Buddhists teach you something. That they say, if you have a problem with somebody or something's going wrong, they go nothing or empty. Yeah. And that was my cycle. That's my psyche. You get up, you go out, you run your business. You get out, you go up in the day and you do it and you price yourself right and you do it with confidence. And anything that's worrying you, anything that's going on, right, you go empty. I love it in Thailand. I mean, Alan, you'll know this because obviously you've lived, spent some time in Thailand, and the Thais are great. The Thai people can have a big argument with somebody, right, one day, but the next day it's gone. They're empty, right?
Yeah.
It's like go again. Do you know what I mean, Alan, by that?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing. It's nothing. It's empty. Nothing. Let's go. And that's when you've got in sales, you've got to have the confidence. I mean, we've gone into a sales mastery course here, but you've got to have, well, we're covering this in the telephone course, just saying. But the reality is that you cannot be wobbly on price. People will sense it. People sense fear. Next slide, Jose. Keep going like this. We'll roll over to next Friday. Price elasticity. Okay, so put your hand up if you're familiar with price elasticity. Okay, that's very interesting. So price elasticity is very important. It's about how you price it and what type of product you got and where you are in the market at that time. And it is it's a very, very important factor because you can base it on fact, right? Rather than if you want basing it on too much emotion. So what we're saying is we're selling on emotion, but you're looking at your pricing based on price elasticity. And price elasticity is how you measure the sensitive customer demand to the change in price of your product. All right. So what type of product have you got? What are you selling? And how sensitive is it to customer demand? Now, there are a lot of generic answers to this, but there's only one real right answer. And that real right answer is you might not know, and you have to therefore test and measure it with your product, with your business. But I'll give you some generics. Okay, this is the real big meat of some of the work I want you to do for next week. Toothpaste versus private jet. Okay, which one do you sell? Natalie, what do you sell? Toothpaste or private jets?
I think people perceive what I sell as toothpaste, but I'd like it to be more private jet, but probably more toothpaste.
Okay. Matt, what do you think you sell? Toothpaste or private jet?
I think my answer is closely related to Natalie's.
Okay.
People think toothpaste, but private jet in our industry, we are the private jet.
Kyle.
I think we sell private jet.
Yeah, you do. Roy, what do you think you sell? Toothpaste or private jet?
Definitely the jet, Gary.
Yeah,
Awesome.
you sell the jet. Dave, what do you think you sell?
First class.
First RKE.
Not
first,
quite the private jet.
Oh, I thought you meant first class toothpaste, mate.
No.
Okay, so all right. So if I have a quick look round, Matt, I think you sell toothpaste. Maybe, yeah, I think you sell toothpaste. Natalie, toothpaste. Kyle, private jet. Alan, toothpaste. Roy, private jet. Sam, you guys, you sell toothpaste in principle. Dave, toothpaste. Rich, toothpaste. Lloyd, well, if we think about your big client, kind of toothpaste. Okay, the others, private jet. John, you're a really tough one, John. But I think, John, you are ultimately, you're probably I think you're toothpaste. Did I leave anybody out? Nathan, Tom. That's a good one. I think you guys, yeah, I think ultimately you're a bit private jet. All right. So if the price of toothpaste goes up, what do you need to do? Rich, is that your new BDM?
It is well, yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, so let's use the baby as an example. Baby food. Is it toothpaste or private jet? Sorry, Tom?
Toothpaste.
It's toothpaste. Why is it toothpaste? Because you
need it.
You need it. Okay, that's the difference with price elasticity. Are you selling something where people have a choice? Or are you selling something that people, where the price goes up? And now the reason I put this slide on there is, do you remember I was telling you about toothpaste last week or the week before? It's nice to know these courses are sticking. It really is. It means a lot to me. I'm going to go wobbly now. Okay, so what I said to you was that the price of toothpaste has gone up recently. But the irony is, not only has it gone up, they've reduced the sizes. But we still need to buy toothpaste. Right? And that's, you're looking, you're saying, have I got a toothpaste product or have I got a private jet product? If you've got a private jet product where it appears to be, it's still a bit of a choice, you kind of want to work out with the client how you make it closer to a toothpaste type product. Does that make sense, guys?
I mean, it is handy that we are called Mint HS, so we are mint fresh toothpaste all day long.
Finish? You finished?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go on to the next one. Right. So here's the formula to work out for price elasticity demand. PED is price elasticity demand. You work out the percentage change in quantity demanded when you change your price, and you divide it by the change of your price. Okay. So basically, if you increase your prices by 10% and the demand goes down by 20%, you divide the 20% by the 10% and you get whatever result you get, and it will show you the elasticity of your business and your product. If it's more than one, it means demand changes a lot when the price changes. So in other words, if you've got a sector of private jets where it's not billionaires, they're just hiring these small private jets like that, it will change a lot. You got toothpaste in elastic demand, it changes a little. So the price of toothpaste goes up, it doesn't change very much. Unit elasticity is you put your price up by 10%, you lose 10% of your customers. It mirrors it. And here's the irony, guys, right? If you test and measure this, okay, if you test and measure it, you'll find out what actually in real terms what your elasticity is. So in other words, I don't want you to think, well, my product's a toothpaste product, so therefore it must be this. That isn't your truth, because you're selling value, you're selling who you are, you're selling the company you are. So you test and measure it with your pricing. And that will give you your price elasticity. And that's why you don't really walk in tomorrow and put the prices up by 10% and think that's it, we're done. You can at the beginning of coaching, that's what we will say to some people because they're just too cheap. And their prices aren't good either. But the reality is, that was a joke. Okay. But the reality is you want to be looking at, you look at what you're doing as a business and you want to be testing your own price elasticity. Okay, let's go on to the next slide, Jodes. So this is going to go down through the same sort of thing. Demand is inelastic. Petrol, cigarettes, basic goods, things like that. They just don't, they don't change. People will just buy it. They will buy it. But luxury goods, restaurants, etc. When times get tough and people start to believe it, there's such a thing is called poverty consciousness. It's a horrible thing, but it happens. Poverty consciousness is when people have a lot of money, but for some reason they have a fear that it's going to run out. And so they start to become tight is a terrible word, but they stopped going to that nice restaurant. They stop flying business class or premium economy. They won't do it because they have billions in the bank, but they have a poverty consciousness. And so even the wealthiest people will sometimes, fall into this trap if you're that type of business where they will stop using you when you get to a certain price.
Yeah, I see that. I'm sure Tom does as well. I see that all the time in wealthy clients, where the wealthier they get, the more consciousness from their childhood comes back into it, and they don't spend any cash.
Well, in Hong Kong, we found that in financial services, you get typically your Hong Kong expat, I don't know, retire with say 10 million US, 5-10 million US will be, because they've done their time, they've been offshore, they've worked for the government or whatever, and these guys, and some of them would be very much more wealthier than that, frankly. But they would have spent their life flying business class, having lunches, taking everyone out on a weekend for lunch, family, flying back, doing all that stuff. And then suddenly they retire. So then they bank their 10, 20 million or whatever. And then now suddenly they're down the supermarket. They're not going out to restaurants anymore. They're never going to run out of their money. Rich people, right? A rich person that's got £1 million in the bank, 10 million pounds, say, the new 1 million, say, in the bank. A rich person, when do they ever run out? When do they run out of money? Do you know the answer?
When they're below 10 million in their head.
But they actually never run out of money, right? Because they should be living off the dividends or the return on investment.
Yeah, that's why £1 million doesn't go very far.
No, exactly. But the reality is that's the answer with a wealthy person never runs out of money because they're living off of the dividends or the return on investment, be it in inflation. But a lot of people's mindset is, I'm going to run out of money. I'm going to run out of money. So they become poverty consciousness. They're subconscious. You're right, Nathan. It comes back from our iceberg. And that's why you got to break the ice. I certainly had to break my iceberg from the life in where I came from, John, you were going to say something. I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to ask. So it sounds like what we're talking about in terms of price elasticity. I had a clarification question. It sounds like this is around a certain marketplace. So, for example, you've got a product like, I don't know, business class flights are people, when they get a poverty consciousness, they'll stop buying them, whereas they still brush their teeth. Yeah. But what if you raise your prices, so that's across a marketplace, people continue buying toothpaste, but let's say Colgate versus Aquafresh or whatever massively increases their prices. I suppose there's a certain point where a customer who's habitually buying a certain one might look to buy the other one, but but again, is there a sort of another level where you say, even if you're in a marketplace where it's pretty elastic, actually, is that the word? I don't know, whatever it is, in the marketplace where people are likely to continue buying even if it goes up, I guess there's a certain amount where the differential between you and your competitors kicks in at some point. Is that right?
Brilliant. So that exactly right, John, and that's the test and measure. That's why I want to say to you guys today, that, I mean, John, you've summed up that for me beautiful, because think about this as a real subject, right? Because some people just don't think about their pricing as a subject. They think about quoting, think about doing the quote, but they don't think about their pricing. And with that toothpaste manufacturer, John, they will stretch it as far as they can without it snapping.
Mm.
And they will know that there is a certain amount of customer loyalty that will get broken.
Mm.
And that's that's why it's such an such an important subject that what we're covering today. And so with the toothpaste manufacturer, people will go in to a point where they go, oh no, I always buy Listerine, or I always buy that's mouthwash. Well, I always buy that, always buy that, always buy that. And then at some point something will catch them, or the news will say they've doubled that price. You're like, oh, But they remember what we did just now. If they put their prices up by a certain amount, 10%, they can afford to lose 10% of sales and still make a whatever it was 20% increase in profit. And then you've got everything is that they reduce the size of what you do. You reduce your services rather than you could put your price up and reduce your services. If you're doing an hourly rate, you put your price up per hour, and then you charge and then you do 45 minutes, for example. So it's very much thinking of it like an elastic band, a stretchy elastic band. How far can it go? But my point is that most people are just not bothering with it. They set the price and they crack on, or they do a quote and they crack on. They're not testing it, and that's the learning. Does that make sense, John?
Yeah, absolutely, Gary. Thank you.
Okay, let's go, Jodes. Okay, I can increase prices without losing in customers. Do I need to compete on volume and value instead? That's the question. That's what I kind of just said, really, is, if you can compete on volume and value instead, that's important. Brooke Taverner, if anyone buys any Brooke Taverner clothes, quite like Brooke Taverner clothes are good, like their cords are pretty good. They're very clever. £69 pair of cords, two for 100, two for £120 or whatever. Does that make sense? Yep. So they're looking at getting more money in, but they're also looking at increasing their volume. Okay, next, Jodes. How loyal are your customers? That's what we talked about just now. How loyal are they to the product? Do they buy on price, experience, convenience, trust? When did you last test your price elasticity? These are 3 questions for you to do work on in the next week. So you've got 2 things. You've got you as the person, and then you want you as the business. Normally, you as the person will have a lot more elasticity. You as the company will have to work harder for it. So people might say, oh, I always deal with Natalie for my health and safety. And that allows her to, be stretchy with her price without breaking sales. But people might not yet say, and I mean this with love, Natalie, they might not say, oh, I always use Mint HS. So Mint HS will not have as much elasticity as Natalie does. Does that make sense, guys? It's a good subject. It's a really good subject. And it's good work to do. Next, Jodes. Okay, the silent killer, every 10% discount kills 40% of profit. It's a generic comment. Your job for next week is to do exactly that with your pricing. Okay?
Sorry, Gary. So you want us to discount our prices by 40% to kill 10% to kill 40% of our profit?
No.
No.
Yeah. No, I don't want you to do it. I want you to test it, see if I'm right. Sorry, that.
It's like, I just let my customers know. Gary said you'll get 10% discount.
Okay. Jodie, are you there?
Hello, I'm here. Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. I just had an urgent WhatsApp. And if you can look at it, and just respond to him and help him out, sort it out for me, please. Okay, every 10% discount kills 40% of profit. It's a pretty generic comment, but do you want me to go through the numbers on the board with that? Yes or no?
No, you sent it through on the Jodie sent it through the template anyway, so I'm all right.
Does anyone want me to show you in writing what that looks like?
Yeah, it would be good, Gary, quickly, if you don't mind.
Okay, brilliant. So let's have a look. Right, okay.
Shoot.
If you're selling something, so let's just go back once again. My comments are generic, but typically, I won't be too wrong with this. I know it sounds arrogant, but anyway. All right, let's just say we sell something for £1,000, Roy. Yeah. We buy it for 750. We make 250. So we're making 25% gross margin, right? Client comes in, you're all up against it. Cash flow's a bit tight. You think it needs to do something here. And you go 10%, and you're like, oh, you know what? Yeah, okay. Still costs you 750 to make it. You make 150. What's your margin now?
It's down to roughly 15%, so it's
Okay, so it's down to just under 15%. What was that? 150 divided by 900, 16.66%. Yeah, and so the difference is what is it? It's actually more, isn't it? It's about a 40% drop in profit. Just under, right?
Certainly a 40% in absolute numbers.
Yeah.
40% of the 250 is the 100k you lose, isn't it?
Yeah. It's interesting, right, guys? Just like that. Just like that. Through being wobbly, not having your sales script done. I see, a lot of people end up giving 10% on the phone, funny enough. They just implode. They implode before the client makes them implode. And here's the problem. This £100, normally, for most businesses, is finding its way all the way off the bottom line, because that's your 10% net profit. Is that all right, Roy?
Yeah.
So typically, look, you all work on different margins, but as with everything, these numbers that might be a generic example, but I didn't know it was going to be 40%, but I kind of knew it would, because it always comes out around that. PowerPoint, please, Jez. It's very, very, very powerful weapon that the customers make you do when it comes to discounting. Okay, feels good for 5 seconds and you regret lasts forever. When people, and I know you're going to think I'm trying to sell my telephone course and my sales course, but when people do my courses or our courses, they make that money very often, not in charging more, but in not giving away stuff, because people just implode too quickly.
Yeah, there is obviously the argument of increasing to decrease for a sales tool. In our industry, it's very popular. You know, a lot of people pitch very high in order to use the discount as a kind of sales tool.
But Roy, think about giving value instead, or product.
Yeah, no, we don't. We really try not to. It's just
so just let him know, Jody. So the reality is the principle here, Roy, is if I am going to be pushed here, yeah, and if I say, well, I can't do that. Oh, I'm not showing the screen, but if I say, for example, I can't. No, Jody, not today. If I do that, me and Jody are having a little. Have you noticed we're having a little husband and wife argument here? It's pathetic, isn't it? It's good. You know why? Because it's like you're all like family to us. Do you know what I mean? We just, Jody, we just so Roy, if I say no, I can't do that, but what I can do is I'll give you £50 worth of product somehow. Yep. So you're still paying, say, 1,000, but you're actually in your mind, you're getting 1,050, right? Of value.
Yeah.
Buy one, get the second one half price, for example. Then the reality is the client thinks they're getting 50 or 5,000. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many zeros. But how much does that 50 cost me?
25 or whatever.
It's cost me £37.50, right? Because that's the trade price. That's the cost of goods. So it's better to give away the product, which to the client is worth that, but it actually only costs me this to make it. So in that scenario, the client pays the 1,000, believes they've got a bit of a deal out of us for 1,050, but it's cost us, 787.50. So we've not taken a complete bath on it. So we still make whatever that is. We still make £212.50. So a huge difference in gross profit. The client's thinking, well, I didn't get a discount, but I got 50 quid more of this. So you create a win-win. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And even, by the way, just if we want to really square this off, if you said to the client, I can't give you a 10% discount, but I can give you £100 worth of value. So they want 100 quid, but you still charge 1,000. That £100 worth of value in your worst case scenario will cost you here 825. You will still make £175 profit compared to 150 over here by giving the actual cash away. So you know it's not your best scenario, but you're still making 17.5% profit. PowerPoint, Jodes? So pricing, guys, is a real subject, and people do not pay enough attention to it. Always give away value. Give away value, give away product, give away service. Do not give away price. That's why you get buy one, get the second one half price. That's why they do it, because the second one maybe costs them. Maybe they sell it for nothing, but they're not giving away cash. Joe's next one. The 5% magic movement. Look, I think we've covered that. The only thing I want to say in there is remember, you've got 5% around your prices. You've got the price, you've got the costs, but you've also got the volume. Okay, so you're talking about the price, move it by 5% in your favor. Try to sell 5% more stuff. Hours, film, roofs, etc. And your cost of goods by trying to reduce your cost of goods. Don't chase, I love that, by the way. Don't chase turnover, chase margin. That's really good, Joe. I did that. Right, next. I wrote this when I was in Thailand, guys. So I was in quite creative mood. Tiered pricing in packages. We're getting quite close to the end. Tiered pricing. People love a choice, but you must have a sensible middle. If you want to sell a £25,000 product, what am I showing? If you want to sell a £25,000 product, you'd better have a what? Tom, what have you got your arms folded? You bored?
No, very comfortable.
Okay. If you want to sell a £25,000 product, Tom, you better make sure you got a what?
£75,000 product.
He's good. He's got a good
Come
coach.
on.
Yeah, he's got a good coach. If you want to sell a £25,000 product, you better have a 50 grand one. If you want to sell, I don't know, a silver, you better have a platinum. Or gold, rather. Right? You've got to have a small, medium, large. Have you ever seen in popcorn, like in some of them, you get small, medium, large, fuck off, big. Nobody ever really buys the fuck off big. Well, sometimes they do in Asia, but they basically they want to sell. They're trying to push that middle one up to the third one, the one before the one at the top, which is the big fuck off, popcorn thing, which has got dust in it. Okay, let's go, Jades. Psychologically, humans aren't calculators, right? So, what you might think they are, and you might sometimes get some customers that are using their conscious brain very much. Price, all this, and that. But at the end of the day, they still buy on emotion. Using anchoring, decoys, charm pricing, all these tactics can be used. And this is more sort of really, it's more of a sort of sales course principle, but all these things are used by the big companies that small companies don't use. So anchoring is psychological pricing, right? And does everyone know what anchoring is?
No.
Anchoring is when the client sees the first price. If they talk to other clients, that's the one they anchor around, that first price. Okay, so to see that, if you look at your Dyson and that Dyson is £1,000, and then you look at your Shark and it's 1,100 or it's 800 or so, they've anchored the price of what they want to do, usually by that first price, the first number that they see, strongly influences what they think. And that's why it's good when you first meet people to anchor in the pricing, around where you are. Decoy pricing is where you offer a decoy, a third option that they're probably never going to take. It's a less attractive option. Well, you could do this. You could, instead of having one-to-one training, you could go in a group of 20. What do you prefer? Because if you go in a group of 20, that's decoy pricing. It doesn't exist to always be bought. It exists to steer the buyer's choice to that. Bit like a very, very cheap iPhone at $699. Nobody's really going to buy it, but it's a decoy product. Right? Remember the little Apple XC or whatever, the little cheap one they did? Nobody bought it. But it was who did?
I did.
Okay. So a few okay, next slide, Jess. All right, Tom, how is it? Did it work well?
No, I didn't like it. Too cheap.
Oh dear. Talking of pulling teeth with this session today. Communicate value, explain improvements, make small regular increases, smile when you say the price. For God's sake, guys, smile when you say the price. John, is John Cade still here or has he gone?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So smile when you say the price. Don't wobble, John. Don't wobble. John, you got an amazing smile and charisma. Don't wobble. Never apologize when quoting a price. Never be embarrassed. It's your iceberg, not theirs. Always be calm, always be certain, and always be slightly expensive. I've got a really, really good bit of advice for you, by the way, when it comes to discounting. What's the word, Roy?
Don't. Close.
Imagine you work for Apple and you ring Tim Cook up and you go, all right, Tim, Great day today. Hope you don't mind. I give Tom Campbell 20% off that piece of shit that we produced for that cheap iPhone. Tim won't have it, will he? You're not allowed to discount. Who do you think you are? You can give them a free case because that's the deal at the moment. Discounting is a problem for people that own their own business and can control it. But if you imagine that you work for the company and they go, you're fired, you gave away 40% of my profit. Or when people toddle up to you that work for you and go, can we do this deal? Well, how did you get to there with the client? How on earth did you get to that point with the client? Well, because I let them. We better give you some training then. Okay, next. Your pricing audit. So here's so this basically is, what I want you to look at is looking at your top 5 services, review them, identify any areas where you're undercharging. Okay, look at action. Knowledge without action is theory. We know that. Amateurs guess, professionals test. I love that. That's great. Price is power. You don't get what you deserve. You get what you charge for. We all know the people when they're giving us a quote and you're like, oh, dear. I feel sorry for that bloke because he's too good. He should be charging more. You think, great, I've got a good deal. But really, you should, if I'm a business coach, I'll do the deal. And then I'll say, I just can have a word with you. So what I said, I would have paid you 40% more. Would you like to know how we do it? Yeah. So a lot of people underprice themselves. They really do. Okay, next, Jodes. So guys, Jodie, we can go on to the other PowerPoint. I know we've only got a couple of minutes. So what I have also put together, guys, today is another PowerPoint to send you, which I just wanted to quickly go through and show you. But Jodie, do you have a PowerPoint?
Yeah, in there.
If you could put the other PowerPoint up, Jodes.
Yes. I'm getting there.
I'm just doing that to wind you up.
You love
for everyone to feel a little bit impatient with me.
I made you feel better. Okay, perfect.
20 great pricing strategies, right? So I just put this together at the weekend. We won't go through every one, but there is a couple that I just want to quickly point out whilst we finish. Keep going, Joe. It's not that one. Value-based pricing. Hopefully I've taught that to death today. That's what you got to be doing, selling on value, not price. We said that last week when Lloyd tried to have a little, he was trying to nip at my ankles, wasn't he? Do you remember we did the little role play? And he said it's too cheap and bad. And I said, well, we sell on value, Mr. Smith, not price, And as Richard said, you've just become one of our B or C clients, so you can go. Next one, Jodes. No. Look, guys, we're going to give you this, but I want to point out some of the highlights here. Premium pricing, very, very, very important. If it's too cheap to be good, if it's too cheap, then no matter how good you are, people won't believe that you're quality. They just won't. Next. Dynamic pricing. Okay, dynamic pricing is definitely becoming a thing for some businesses. Is everyone familiar with dynamic pricing? Dynamic pricing is where, for example, restaurants online or even when you go in there will change their pricing according to how busy they are or not.
Oasis Tickets, Gaz, was the famous one this year.
Yeah, there you go. And people think it's a new thing. It's not. In Thailand, if you go in the massage places or the foot scrub places or the nail places, they have 5 price boards. Yeah, when the cruise ship comes in, out comes number 1 price board. When it's pissing down with rain, out comes number 1 price board. When it's lunchtime and the Thais are having lunch, but the expats are drunk having lunch, and they got the 5 price boards. They've been dynamic pricing for hundreds of years in Asia. We seem to think it's just a new thing here. Next. Yep, you can. I will just go through these guys. These are pretty. Hopefully, I've made them quite obvious. No, next. Yeah, this is important. Tiered pricing, massively important. If somebody says it's too expensive and they want a discount, you say, well, would you like to go for bronze then, or would you like to go for silver? You've got to be able to say, if somebody says it's too expensive, you say, sure, what would you like me to take away? You see, you can always get to the point where people pay you less money, but it doesn't have to be for the same product or the same thing. Next. Yeah, next. Charm prices. No, next. Next. This is one that I think is really important. Performance-based pricing. You know, if you are really giving people a return on investment, then you can price what you do based on some of those. Take care, mate. Based on some of those prices. You know, so you can price in, right? If you pay me, John, JK, you still there, yeah? I think John's gone. But if
I'm here, Gary. I was just muted. Sorry.
So, when you're with a client, you save them millions and millions and millions of pounds sometimes, right?
Yeah.
You relate that to your price. That's your performance-based pricing. Yeah, you link it to the results that the client achieves. If in your business, if that can be done. Next. Yeah, we've done that one. Next. Next. That's a great one. Pay what you want. Okay. Let them suggest. Yeah, early bird pricing. I think that let's just flip through to the end, Jodie, because I've done the ones that I wanted to point out. Yeah. So just go back. That last one is something that I want you to think, self-liquidating offers. Okay, so I'll just finish on that one. So on a self-liquidating offer, so with our debt collection business, we're just launching right now a whole new marketing campaign based on self-liquidating marketing. It's something that for some of you can't do, but for some of you can. A self-liquidating marketing is basically where you give away something for free, and the amount of business you do from that, from giving it away for free, will cover the cost of the leads, £50 a lead, for example. Or with this, for example, with Newer Black, what we're doing is we're creating a booklet, an e-booklet that people can buy, and a course, a 5-hour course, and they'll pay £99. And we look at our conversion rate, and our conversion rate for that is going to be about 8%. So with 8%, we know that will cover all the costs of the marketing. And out of every 10 people that buy the ebooks in the little course, we will get one full credit control audit. Does that make sense? So that's called self-liquidating marketing. Can you create an ebook? Can you create something that somebody buys online from you? Or can you go networking and say, well, the first stage here is we charge £250 to do an audit, or £500 to do an audit, and that's your self-liquidating marketing gig. Look, I'm going to finish on this, but I'll give you an example. With Action Coach, we have a self-liquidating marketing product, and that's the alignment. So the alignment is where coaching starts for people. We always do the alignment. It's a powerful half a day, as you know, but that alignment is purely the marketing costs of building the business. So each coach needs to do between 10 and 15 alignments a year, which is the amount that we pay about £20,000 marketing for each coach each year. So at 7 coaches gives us £140,000 marketing budget, right? So self-liquidate, and we know the conversion rates on that. So self-liquidating marketing is a great way to price your product low to then get people in and paying. You see it online all the time to get more, to get your more clients in, but to help cover your cost of marketing as well. And Alan's son is doing that, something like that, isn't he, Alan, at the moment?
Yeah, he is, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, and Alan's son's an entrepreneur, he's a fantastic footballer as well, and he's doing that online. He's only 15, but he's doing that as probably as we speak, right, mate? You should get him to
started early, mate.
Yeah. So it's great. We are in a changing world. Look, guys, we've gone over time. Sorry about that. I need to price that in, right? Biggest learning today, guys. Sam, what's been your biggest learning today? I seen you just put a biscuit in your mouth there. It's a nasty thing for me to do, isn't it? You're muted.
Oh, that customers are very demanding.
Okay. Kyle, biggest learning today?
Just add value, not discount.
Love that. Lloyd?
Never be wobbly. Confidence sells.
Do not be wobbly. No. Matt James? I don't know why I say your whole name, Max. There's only one Matt on here, but Matt.
The I think the value based, the toothpaste and the jet.
Love that. Nathan?
10% discount is 40% off your bottom line.
Beautiful. Tell your clients that, guys. Roy?
Yeah, I think to know the difference between value and how you sell, know your industry. I watched a brilliant, really short YouTube on the current MD of Ralph Lauren. And, yeah, they took like several months recently to know what industry they're in, and they decided at the end of it that they were in the dreams industry, not the clothing industry. So really, really good. Yeah.
Dave?
It was the to never give any discounts.
Love that. Tom?
If someone quotes you as too expensive, you then reply, so what do you want me to take away?
Love that. That's I got Tom. Next, if you're on the telephone course in a week's time or whatever, we're going to do a lot of that. You're going to love it. Natalie?
Mine would be the same. That 10% discount is a 40% off my margin.
I love it. It's you know, Nat, can you imagine how I wish I knew that 35, 40 years ago, right? You know, I really do. Alan, biggest learning today, mate?
I like the tiered pricing.
Love that.
Yeah.
Lloyd?
You've already done me, Gary.
JK? I'm just so in awe of everything you share, Lloyd. JK?
Having the confidence to test, Gary. Next proposal I put in, 5% more, see if anyone bats their eyelid.
Brilliant. Love that. And Jodie, what was your biggest learning today?
Facts tell, stories sell.
Oh, I love you guys. I'll see you next week. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.